Let's admit it. We've all had days when we felt like things were never going to get better and our depression would never go away. There's indeed no way to snap out of it so easily. And so many can't afford to see a therapist to receive the help that they need. If so, is it actually possible to overcome your depression all by yourself? We'll find out in just a second. But first, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and ring the notification bell so that you get notified every time we upload a new video. Depression is more than just being unhappy. It can be crippling. That's because there's usually a reason for unhappiness, such as rejection or not receiving the job you desired. But depression, on the other hand, is a pervasive emotion with no clear explanation, making it difficult to learn how to quit being sad. Unfortunately, the most typical advice given to those suffering from depression is to get their act together and sort themselves out. Sadly, it wouldn't have been much of a problem if it were so simple, but there are some efficient ways to help reduce or eliminate the symptoms of depression. Number 1. Start each morning with a thankfulness mantra. It's tough to find joy in anything when you're suffering from depression. One of the signs of depression is a lack of interest and inability to find pleasure in activities you used to like. Trying to remember that you have things to be grateful for in your life might actually encourage you to get out of bed in the morning. Dr. Beatrice Tauber Pryor, a clinical psychologist, author, speaker, and owner of Harborside Wellbeing in North Carolina, says, "When you wake, begin with the thought, 'What am I thankful for today?' Then, ask yourself to get up for the thing you are grateful for. You may be grateful that you have a job. You may be grateful for the pets or your children. You may be grateful that you have a roof over your head and food on your plate. It doesn't matter how big or small it is. Find one thing for which you're grateful and use that to motivate you to get out of bed. But what if it's early in the morning and it's already raining outside?" That brings us to the next point. Number 2. Sitting in the sun. For most of us, waking up to a bright sunny day is a major mood booster. There's nothing worse than waking up on a dark, rainy November morning, but when the sun is shining and the sky is blue, we find it much easier to jump out of bed and smile our way through the day. However, while sunshine feels wonderful on our skin and gives us a lovely golden tan, there's much more going on beneath the surface than just a basic feel-good factor. Sunlight leads to higher levels of a chemical in the brain called serotonin, which is crucial for regulating emotions and energy levels. According to the National Library of Medicine, the amount of sunlight we're exposed to, regardless of other factors such as the season or environmental variables, can have a significant impact on the levels of serotonin in our brain. And the lower the serotonin levels, the more likely we're to experience the effects of depression. So go outside and soak up some vitamin D and serotonin. You might want to shut yourself up in a dark room and ignore the rest of the world. Even so, force yourself to walk outside with the sole purpose of relaxing your body and mind while soaking in the sun rays. Number 3. Exercise. Exercising is another effective way to overcome depression. That's because exercising releases endorphins, which improve natural immunity and enhance your overall mood. But apart from that, regular exercise has a variety of other health advantages, including lowering blood pressure, preventing heart disease and cancer, and increasing self-esteem. According to Dr. Michael Craig Miller, assistant professor of psychiatry at Harvard Medical School, in people who are depressed, neuroscientists have noticed that the hippocampus in the brain, the region that helps regulate mood, is smaller. Exercise supports nerve cell growth in the hippocampus, providing nerve cell connections which help relieve depression. However, As easy as it may sound, getting started can be actually challenging, especially if you're a beginner. In that case, Dr. Miller suggests start with 5 minutes a day of walking or any activity you enjoy. Soon, 5 minutes of activity will become 10, and 10 will become 15. If you're short on time, you can also go for a walk while enjoying the sunlight. How's that for killing two birds with one stone? Number 4. Get a pet. The fastest and most effective treatment you can get to cure depression is love. When we talk about love, we could refer to it in many different ways: a spouse, parents, friends, siblings, or even pets. You heard it right, even pets. In a study published in the journal Aging and Mental Health, researchers analyzed data from 830 primary care patients aged 60 and older. They discovered that pet owners were 36% less likely than non-pet owners to report feelings of loneliness. That's because a pet can comprehend your feelings and offer you the greatest level of comfort. Dogs, for instance, can comprehend what their owners are feeling, read the tone of voice, gestures, and body language, and snuggle up to you when you're feeling down. Definitely something you'll need when you're depressed and have no one to talk to. Number 5. Challenge negative thinking. Sometimes you feel hopeless, even when you've tried everything. You've had a good start to the day, worked out, and taken care of your pet, but you just can't seem to shake off the negative thoughts. You think that awful things will happen and there's nothing you can do about it. In such an event, remember that your thoughts aren't true. Depression casts a gloomy light on everything, including how you perceive yourself and your future expectations. It's important to keep in mind that these kinds of ideas are a sign of depression and that these illogical, gloomy attitudes, known as cognitive distortions, aren't realistic. When you really look at them closely, these negative thoughts don't hold up. But even so, they can be quite difficult to give up. You won't be able to break free from your pessimistic mindset by urging yourself to just think positive. It's often a part of a lifelong pattern of thinking that has become so automatic that you aren't even aware of it. Rather, the key is to recognize the negative thoughts that are triggering your depression and replace them with a more balanced mindset. For instance, if you were recently rejected from a job, don't say to yourself, "I should have never interviewed for that job. I'm an idiot for thinking I could get it." Instead, learn from your mistakes and remind yourself, don't give up. Everything works out for your good. And that brings us to our last point. Number 6, don't give up. When you're dealing with a serious mental illness like depression, you're constantly fighting to maintain your sanity. Living with a mental illness is exhausting, which is why many individuals give up on their recovery. In a study of the individual processes and outcomes of recovery, researchers at the Mental Health Research Unit, or MHRU, in Dublin divided study subjects into 2 groups: those who gave up and those who fought to improve. Those who gave up linked it back to the first time a doctor informed them that they would need mental health therapy for the rest of their life, including psychiatric medicines. Those classified as fighters started with finding their own motivation for recovery and learning new ways of coping with the negative emotions. It was an ongoing, day-to-day process which required a lot of energy and effort. Participants felt that it was crucial to have something or somebody in life to fight for. One participant of the study says, "Not to give up, to fight. I mean, every day you have to fight. You're fighting one thing or another. But if you lose the battle, depression can take over your life. It can totally ruin you if you let it. But find something in your life that you want to fight for, and it helps a great deal. I fought for my children, my grandchildren really. Fighting for your life takes substantial effort, But what you discover at the end may be the key to unlearning your learned helplessness. If you simply try once and it doesn't work, don't give up. Fight on. Number 7. Listen to music. Many people swear by the healing power of music. One study concluded that music is an effective therapy to potentially reduce depression and anxiety, as well as to improve self-esteem, mood, and overall quality of life. So when you're feeling down in the dumps, put on some soft music and let its healing power soothe you. So what are your thoughts on these suggestions? Have you tried any of these? If so, how effective was it? Share your experience in the comments section below.